Hello friends, welcome to Squander Lobby. In this video, we are going to discuss about a way of merging or mixing different vegetations in graphics mods. For this tutorial specifically, the nbvisual and nbvegetation, where we'll try to replace the nbe vegetation with nbvisual wherever possible, and we'll try to avoid glitches or issues and get the best possible version or placement of what nbvisual wanted to provide. As I understand, nbvisual is now working with Natural Vision Evolved, and they are trying to bring out vegetations that are bit more better and realistic. So we'll try to take all the vegetation files that are available with Natural Vision Evolved and replace them with nbvisual, and just take the placements of nbvisual so that we have trees or plants wherever nbvisual wanted them to be, right? So I'll just show you a few differences in nbe versus nbvisual, that is nbe versus nbe plus nbvisual to start with, and then we will go to the tutorial. Okay, so stay tuned. I hope you might have gone through the tutorial that I had provided some time back, where I have explained you how to install Natural Vision Evolved and how to configure your ENB. So I'm not going through that again. This tutorial is specifically into how to merge these vegetation mods without causing much of the issues. So this is how I normally do it. You might have different ways of doing it, but this is how I normally do it, and I haven't faced any issues so far. So I'll just take you through the process, though I will not show you how I do it for each file, but it is self-explanatory on what you need to do. So let's open OpenIV, and I consider you have installed Natural Vision Evolved and have the same settings as I have. Now, apart from the normal mods in Natural Vision Evolved, I have also installed an additional NV Vegetation Extra that is provided with the add-on pack. This is the latest Natural Vision Evolved that was released on December 18th. So if you have this version or if you have older, the process is entirely the same. So if you go to NV Vegetation or NV Vegetation Extra, you will find all the vegetation files here. So the meta files here, and you will find the props here. So the props also includes the YDR, YFT, YBN and YTD files. So what we are intending to do basically is we are trying to get this vegetation of NVE into nbvisual, that is basically GTFI remake, and still using the placements of nbvisual, but using the vegetation models from Natural Vision Evolved where available. So nbvisual has a lot of vegetation when compared to Natural Vision Evolved. Natural Vision Evolved has only provided vegetation for where they are using their props, but for other assets, nbvisual normally connects to vanilla GTFI, as well as it tries to override the vegetation that is already provided with vanilla. But what happens normally is when you install NB vegetation, at times based on your system specs and all, you might find certain glitches. So I'm just trying to tell you how to avoid that. Okay, so this is an old version of GTFI remake or nbvisual, what you call it, that I have, and it is applicable for all the vegetations that you might have as part of nbvisual. So let's look into it. So you have a nbvisual installer here and a nb vegetation procedural file here. What I would do is I would right click it, and if you have 7-zip or WinRAR, you can extract that. So I'm trying to extract that particular file into the folder that will contain all the files within that, right? So I have nbvisual installer here. If you open that, you have a file called as assembly.xml. Double click that. Now this is a Visual Studio Code editor. You can open it with Notepad, as well as you can open it with Notepad++, whichever you use. So I normally use this for coding, so this is what I normally use. So if you look here, you will basically come to know which files correspond to which folder. So you can see here nbvisual, remake map, and remake props, right? So these are the folders that are available here. What I would suggest is go to content, and then when you see this folder, so it is D48, right? So just try to figure out D48 here, which is this one. If you open it, you will find this dlc.rpf. What you can do is you can click on it and rename it to nbvisual, right? Now the next one we need is remake map, which is D79 at the ending. So D79 is this one, and I'm going to rename it to remake map. And then I have remake props, which is 715 at the end, which is this one, and I'm going to rename it to remake props. Okay, so I have 3 folders here: nbvisual, remake map, and remake props. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy each of them, and I'm going to paste them into my GTA 5 directory. So let's go here. This is my GTA 5 directory here, mods, update, go to x64 and DLC packs, where you have all your DLC packs installed. Copy these files from here and paste it here, right? So you have nbvisual, remake map, remake prop. Let's keep it this way for now. Now I want you to go back here and go back to this nb vegetation procedural. The same way how we unzipped it, I want you to go to 7-zip and unzip that OIV file. So you'll get a folder called nb vegetation procedural. So double click that. Now there is a content file here. Go inside and you'll find one file called vtrees, and you will find another one called vproc1. Now what I want you to do is create a folder here maybe, and you can rename that separately, or you can take these folders from here. It's based on how you want it, right? So what it basically does is, if you go to the assembly file, you'll easily understand that it's going to take these 2 files from here, and it's going to paste them into x64.i.rpf, right? So this is a path x64i.rpf. Now you can browse that from here. If you go to OpenIV here, and if you go here, you will find this x64i, right? So that's the location right here. Double click that, levels GTA 5, and it asks you to go into level GTA 5 props procedural. So levels GTA 5 props, and you go here to procedural. You find these 3 files: vproc1, vproc2, and vproc3, right? So the procedural goes into vproc1, goes here into vproc1, and then you have the next one, that is trees, which is in vegetation. So if you notice here, you have this vegetation here. Click on that and you will see v_trees, right? So the best way would be to directly copy these files from here, that is v_trees, and replace them right here. So for that, you will have to click on edit mode, enable your edit mode, and click on copy to mods folder. So this x64i will go to your mods folder, and here basically in the vegetation part, you can copy this v_trees and you can paste it here. So it will override this v_trees, and then you can go to procedural. You will find this vproc1. So you will have to go back to the next folder, which is vproc1, and you can override this. So you have a new file right here. Okay, So we are done with this particular thing, and we are done with the other folders as well. I want you to close this out. Now I want you to go to your DLC packs here. Then you have remake map, remake props, and nbvisual. These three files that you basically took in initially. Great. So you have these files here in your DLC pack. Now what I want you to do is go to your DLC pack. We have copied basically three files, that is nbvisual, remake map, and remake props. You can keep this as it is and run your GTA 5. But often you would find certain glitches here and there. I do it in a different way. Now I'll tell you how I do it. You can keep these files as it is, but the reason I have copied these three folders is that is the standard way of doing that, right? Now I'll tell you what I normally do. I will basically delete this folder that says remake props. Okay, so you can go to your DLC pack and delete remake props from here. I'll only keep remake map and nbvisual, right? So what I normally do here is I will go to nbvisual. You'll find DLC x64 and you'll find these three RPF files: metadata, nbprop, and nbtext. Metadata, it has different metadata. I want these to be kept as it is. I'll not touch anything out from there. nbprop, what I'll normally do is, or what I normally do for this particular tutorial is, I'll go to each of these files. So say for example this first one, I'll copy that out, and then I'll go into the search here. So say that was my first file. I'll go and, or rather I'll tell you a better way of doing it that I normally do. I'll open the nbvisual, create a new folder nbvisual, and I'll go to nbvisual, nbprop, and I'll copy everything, Control A, select everything, and I will shift that here to this folder called nb. Right, so what it does, it will copy all the YDD, YDR, YTD files, whatever is part of that nbprop, to this folder, and this makes searching a bit easy. So now I'll go back to the root folder, and say for example this is the first one. So I'll just copy the name of that file, paste it here in the search, and I'll search it in all the archives, right? I'll tell you why I'm doing this. So what it returns me basically is, it gives me where this file is actually available. So if you see, apart from nbvisual, it's available in x64L, right? What I want you to do is, I want you to go to that particular file, copy it to the mods folder, and once it's copied to the mods folder, I want you to take this file and replace it here, right? So what it does is, the default vanilla version of the file is replaced by nbvisual file, right? Now similarly I'll take the next one. I'll go here in the search and I'll try to figure out that file. So it's part of nbvisual, it's part of x64L, which you just did, right? So the same folder. So I'll copy that file and I'll paste it here, just drag and drop, right? So similarly I'll just try to do it for these files here. Now if you are using NVE roads, I would say don't go for this buildings and all. You can try them out, but I normally don't select these cloud hat files and all, which are basically part of nbvisual. I normally take the files which are vegetation files, like this prop, bush, prop, ivy, aloe vera, agave. These are all files that are basically the vegetation files here. So you can find anything that is related to plants can be found from here. So you can just select that, search that file here, and locate that within the vanilla version and replace that, right? So once you are done with this entire process, what I'll do is, I'll go here back to nbvisual, nbprop, and then I'll select everything from here except I'll select everything and then I'll delete it from here. So what happens is, it will delete all the files from nbprop which we have already replaced in the vanilla version of the files. Next I'll go to nbtextures and I'll do the same thing. I'll copy all these things to this folder. I'll search for each of them, and the difference is, I'll tell you where the difference lies. So say I have copied all these things from NB textures here. Okay, now this may also go the same for NB props as well. What happens is there might be certain files that are already available with NVE as well. So say for example, if I take this Z prop tree oak1, and if I am trying to search that same file in GTA5 here in all archives, then you can see that from the results I get NVE vegetation, right? Now what I want to, for any files that basically return you NVE vegetation, what I want you to do is create a new folder called NVE in your desktop, go to that particular file, copy that file onto your NV folder here, right? And then I want you to go back here, and you see that it's already available in nbvisual here. Apart from that, it's available in x64i. So I will go there, which is actually a vanilla replica of that, into the mods folder, and I'll copy that file from that NVE copied version and I'll paste it here. So what I'm trying to do is, whatever vegetation that is part of NVE, I'll try to copy that NVE vegetation into the vanilla thing, and where I don't have a particular vegetation in NVE that like what I have shown you before, I'll copy the files from nbvisual into the vanilla part of it, right? So by following this process, what we do is we will try to take in whatever NVE vegetation we get, and we will avoid nbvisual the vegetation files from that, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm only going to keep the metadata of nbvisual. So once I have done this entire process, same as what I did for nbprop, I'll select everything and I'll delete it out from here, right? So at the end, what I have is I only have this metadata files, and all the files corresponding to nbprop and nbtexture are now available in the vanilla version of x64i and x64l. Plus, wherever they are available within the vanilla folders, you can copy it to those respective folders. So after doing this entire thing, what you are trying to do is you are replacing all NB visual files into your vanilla file, and any copy of it or any new version of that particular file which is available in NVE, I am trying to replace that with the NVE version, right? So after doing this entire thing, you will have all the trees and vegetation replaced by NVE vegetation, and where you don't have NVE, it will replace it with the NB visual, as well as it will take the NB visual placements of your vegetation, and you will have that vegetation surrounded around the map, right? So like you might have noticed that I have only kept remake map here, I have not kept remake prop. But if you keep remake prop, you will have other vegetations as well, that is the big tree and all. But if you want to keep that, you can keep that. Otherwise, there is also another way of replacing that with NVE, but we will discuss that maybe later. Let's keep this tutorial short for now. So I hope this was helpful to you to understand how to replace the vegetation without having any issues. Do let me know if you have any doubts in the comments, and if there is anything that I need to cover in another video, I'll do that. Yeah, bye for now.